Hey folks, it's Dominique. I am joining you this evening because I did not have the anticipated amount of time to speak with you guys this morning. I am going to be trying to do a live YouTube video coming up shortly on this topic. And I'll probably be doing some recorded YouTube videos, so stay tuned on Dominique Does Life, where I put my professional videos up, among other things. So tune in and listen up, because look, my life's passion, doing what I do, being in psychology and doing psychotherapy and coaching and consulting is my entire goal, my entire life's work. My passion is for other people to be happy and fulfilled, and to feel confident in their lives and in their relationships. That is my entire goal. That's what my life's work is about, right? And as some of you know, because you've listened in previously, I recently, actually over the past couple of years, I've been sort of developing this strategy that morphed into an actual structured program, and that is how to get your loved one back. That is what kind of morphed into how to get your loved one back, and it really has to do with the worst of the worst case scenarios. Now, this can work for anybody, and I'm not giving you a sales pitch. This ebook is out there on Amazon right now on Kindle for free. You can have it for free. Okay, so I want you to know that. I'm not going to say, for just 1,000 payments of $9.99, No, you can have it for free. And it's not going to be free forever. It's free for now. And it's a good jumping off point, I think. It may well work for you alone, and then you don't need my help at all. But you need some in-depth coaching, if you want me to kind of work with you one-on-one for your specific situation, I'm happy to do that, in addition to you having this ebook as a reference. But let me tell you, it's something that I developed and used on myself. And I used it, obviously I'm not going to give it to my clients if I don't believe in it, right? If I haven't tested the material, if I don't know that this is legit, I'm just not that person. I'm not going to just throw it out there to my clients and say, all right, guys, have fun, good luck, hope it works. Sorry if I totally epically mess up all of your relationships. Right? I'm not going to do that. So tested it on myself, and because I'm that person who has to go big or go home, sometimes to my own detriment, let me tell you, I used it on the most epically screwed up situation I have in my life. I used it with somebody who, as I've said before on this program, wouldn't talk to me for years. And I mean years. This person wouldn't talk to me. They wouldn't give me the time of day. Believe me, I did try sending messages to them before I started this program. Didn't matter what I said. I'm going to tell you, it did not matter what I said, because what I was doing was making it about me. When I had to, call or text or write this person an email and tell them something, immediately that takes listening off the table and it makes it about you. That is what I aim to eliminate in this program, How to Get Your Loved One Back. And let me tell you, it changed my life. It worked for me. If it can work in the most epically screwed up situation that I have ever been in my entire life, a relationship that was so messed with, both from within. I mean, I'm going to own up to it, right? I didn't necessarily, I wasn't a cool cucumber there. I didn't necessarily help things by, reacting in anger when this person would come to me and had clearly been exploited by the abusive narcissist in their life, right? Why would I make that about me? But I did. I reacted in anger. I made it all about me. I made it the Dominique show, and it wasn't the Dominique show. It was about this other person. It was about me to an extent. It was about us, but it wasn't the Dominique show, and that's what I was making it. And why would anybody who's having trouble, at home want to then go and be part of the Dominique show? They don't. I'm going to tell you that. They don't. So I say this after having eaten huge, heaving helping of humble pie and crow. And I definitely say this after having tried to apologize to this person. And this is, right now I'm telling you guys, please keep listening. I'm telling you what not to do. Please learn from my mistakes. I don't want you to repeat them. They were pretty darn awful and painful for me to go through, and I don't want you to have to go through them. So don't make it about you. If you feel you need to apologize to somebody, or if you feel this person owes you an apology, great. That's fine, but please don't assume that they're interested in hearing your apology right off the bat. I mean, you probably have other issues to work out. They don't need to listen to whatever you think you need to say, right? So, let that be our segue to kind of launch into the specifics of my program. How to get your loved one back when someone you love has closed the lines of communication. Now, this is copyrighted work. It's published work. So just putting it out there, FYI. So as far as how I have structured things in this book, first we've got first things first, kind of like I just gave you, kind of a quick primer on where your head needs to be at and what you're going to encounter in this program, Then we've got some do's and don'ts, and I'll go through a little bit of this with you right now. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but I'll go through some of it with you. Then we've got the sort of FAQ section. For instance, people do ask, this is a good question, how long might the process take before they see results? Well, that's a decent question to ask. And it's a question that should be asked. However, you don't want to focus on a specific time limit. You don't want to focus on, wanting results fast, right? Because if you really care about this person, you'll do whatever it takes. And it'll take however long it takes. Then we've got the section on preparing yourself for contact with this person. And then we launch into how to contact them. Some specifics on how to structure your messages. Now, I like to kind of turn things on their ear in life in general and in this particular situation, in that we've got this situation here where you have major distance between yourself and the person you care about, right? There's some distance there. And we're going to actually, most coaches and counselors and psychotherapists would say, that's not a good thing. You got to get reacquainted. No, I actually think the distance is a really helpful factor. The distance is something that you're going to rely on to sort of be your secret weapon. Okay? And what you need to have, really the only thing you need to have besides a good attitude and a humble attitude about this, as well as a confident attitude. So you got to have some balance there. You've got to be able to be humble and admit any mistakes that you've made and make any changes you need to make. But you've also got to be confident enough to realize this is going to work and to make sure that your messages are coming through sounding like you mean them, right? If you say something, if you use the same words and you say them two different ways, they mean two different things. So If you're saying something like, hey, it's really great to see you happy and smiling, that brightens my day. That sounds confident. But if you say something along the lines of, well, it's kind of nice to see you smile, I guess, and, well, that makes me happy even if you're not smiling at me. That's a totally different connotation, isn't it? Totally different connotation. Totally different meaning. And one of those statements sounds very confident, and the other sounds passive-aggressive and poor me and, sad Susan, right? So you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be a total narcissist, and you don't want to be, oh, poor me. You need to be confident, and you need to be authoritative. So first things first, let's start with that section. First and foremost, you're going to make a list, right? All good things in life start with a list. It doesn't have to be a long list, but you're going to make a list basically of qualities and characteristics that represent this person that you love and care for possesses. And the person you care for that you want to reconnect with could be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a family member, a friend. It could be anybody. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but you're going to make that list. And that's really going to help you through this process, okay? So you're going to go about making this list of their qualities. You're going to go about, write this down if you feel that that'll be helpful to you. You're going to go about recalling your first meeting, your first experience with the person in question. You're going to want to think about that a little bit. You're going to want to think about not just the specifics of what time of day was it, where were you? You're going to want to think of, how did it feel? What was the vibe like? What was going on in your life at the time? If you're aware of this, what was going on in their life at the time? Think about these things. And then think about what made that experience special, okay? So by considering these things, like I said, what was going on in your life? What was going on in their life at the time? What was the vibe like? Why did you run into each other or meet each other or what have you? Were you introduced by a friend? Did you meet online? Were you introduced by other family members? How did you meet this person? What was the vibe like? You're going to be able to, like I said, suss out what made your meeting special and what made your relationship special. So what was it like? You're going to want to think about their likes and dislikes. You're going to want to think about what they want or what they've told you that they want in relationships. You're going to think about whether this person is somebody who likes to be up early in the morning, late at night, whether they have a second wind in the afternoon. Well, this seems random, doesn't it? Why would you want to think about that? Well, I'll tell you. Because you're going to want to find a very strategic and specific time to contact them. Timing matters. Timing matters. And I don't just mean timing regarding what's going on in their life, what's going on in your life. I mean actual time of day or night matters. It absolutely does. And you're going to need to be mindful of that. So what time of day or night are they going to be more receptive to hearing from you? Of course, you need to have some way to get a hold of them, not showing up at their house, not calling them. It's going to be a written communication. It's going to be a written communication. It's going to be a text, an email, a social media message, something like that. It's not going to be you calling them up out of the blue. Please refrain from doing that. We're going to use, like I said, we're going to use the distance as a secret weapon. We're going to use that distance and that space as a secret weapon. So, think about all of that. make this list, write these things down. My feeling is that if you do all of this, you're going to feel mentally, you're going to feel more prepared and more confident. Now, if you neglect to do these things, you may go in feeling like you're disorganized. So please make sure that you're willing to put in the effort to do even the smallest things, because the small things matter just as much as the large things matter. These are things that are really going to come in handy later, so make that list. Make that list. You're going to want to have this text in front of you, because I'm not going to read every single point right here on the show. We don't have time for that. And really, as great as it is to hear somebody giving you, verbal advice, it's even better to have that written out in front of you, isn't it? So we've got some basic do's and don'ts. I'm going to kind of power through these without going into all of the specifics. You'll be able to get a hold of this information when you click on the link or copy and paste the link that is in the show description right here below. So we've got do's and don'ts, and guess what? They're important. They're very important. Never, folks, please hear me on this one. This is something some of my clients struggle with. Never, under any circumstances, text or email somebody any of the following items to start a conversation, or in lieu of nothing, outside of the context of a conversation. And please even be careful when you're using these within the context of a conversation. My goodness, some of these are doozies. Hi, hey, what's up? Hi with 3 eyes. I'm bored. What are you doing? How are you? Nice weather we're having here. Or what a nice day it is. Or yuck, it's raining, etc. I mean, these are just painfully cringy. Don't do it. Do not. Refrain. Memes and GIFs should be avoided at all costs. Absolutely not. Please stay with me on this one. Even if you have established a rapport in the past, please understand that you are restarting and rebooting things. So you're not going to want to immediately go to inside jokes, memes, GIFs, that sort of thing. What that's going to tell the person is, hey, the person I'm talking to is not mature enough to use words like a grown-up. You don't want to send that message. You don't want to send that message because that's not you. You don't want to discuss politics. Look, it's not that you shouldn't share topics that you're both interested in. It's just that you need to keep things relatively light and easy straight away. You don't want to discuss religion. I think we just covered why. Regarding politics. So no religion for the same reasons. Guys, this should go without saying, but I am going to say it. Anything racist, sexist even, sexic? I don't even think that's a word. Anything racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, or hateful should never be texted or said, which hopefully goes without saying. I'm going to say it anyway. These things should never be communicated in any regard. You may think it's funny, and the other person may be forced into a moment of awkward laughter or another awkward response, but please understand that 99 out of 100 people are going to find this offensive and will judge you to be an insensitive person. This will factor into their decision-making process when it comes to talking to you in the future. Why shouldn't you text or email anyone any of the above things? Well, gosh, they're not conversation starters. They make you seem bored, and guess what? Bored is boring. Okay? Life is not boring. It puts the conversational impetus on the other person. It says to that person, I've made only the most basic of basic efforts. Now you entertain me. I'll sit back. You go ahead and entertain me. Well, that is very presumptuous. That is very presumptuous. You are assuming that the person you're talking to has nothing better to do than entertain you. That's not a mature line of thought. That's not a mature way to reason and way to be. And really, it's boring. It's absolutely boring. Now, you need to understand that the person that you're talking to, their time is valuable. Their energy is valuable. Now, you're trying to sell them on making the choice to continue talking to you. Why would they do that if you texted them any of those things, right? I get texts like that from people that I've met that are interested in hanging out and dating me, what have you, and I don't answer them. And if it's somebody that I know well enough to answer, I will say, gosh, I wonder why it is that you just texted me that. If you were thinking of me, it would really be nice to hear you say, gosh, I was thinking about you and I wanted to reach out, or if you have something to say to me, what would really be appreciated is if you were to come out and say it and be straightforward, not beat around the bush, not say, gosh, nice weather we're having. Hey, look at those cubbies. How about that river flooding? Gosh, I like birds. That's not productive. And it makes you seem, forgive the terminology, but like kind of a wuss. It really does. It makes you seem like you're hedging your bets and easing into a conversation when you should be bold enough and mature enough to simply say, hey, I was thinking of you. Let's get together on Tuesday. How about sushi? Or, I miss you. Let's hang out. Want to go to coffee tomorrow night? I know a great place. Or, hey, I saw that this movie was out and I know that you wanted to see that. I think we should go this week. What day works for you, right? That's straightforward. That's confident, and confidence is key. So make sure that the conversation starters that you're utilizing are actual conversation starters and aren't going to be sort of held against you and, making you seem boring, really. You may be a really great person, but what you're saying when you say things like that is simply, I am boring, or I am bored. And as I mentioned before, bored is boring. So please keep that in mind. Please keep that in mind. I know that there is this sort of cultural phenomenon wherein, I hate to say this, but it is very prevalent among men, women too, but there have been many studies that have been done that show it to be very prevalent among American men in particular. And that is that there is this feeling of entitlement of, well, I texted you, so I'm entitled to hear back. Or I said something to you on the street, and I'm entitled for you to talk to me. Well, no, you're not, actually. I get to decide who I talk to and who I don't. And you really don't get to ask me to explain why. It's my choice. And, you're trying to convince this person to make that choice. You're a salesperson right now. You're branding yourself and selling yourself to somebody in a really positive and meaningful way, actually. And you're trying to remind them of the good times that you've had and the good person that you are. And so it really is down to you to convince them that they want to talk to you and to get a yes from them, right? I mean, I'm definitely not somebody who's a huge proponent of like sales techniques and, multi-level marketing and that sort of thing, but I think in this instance it applies, and those techniques work partially because they utilize psychology, and that is what we're doing right here. We are selling our new brand back to somebody who, guess what, was a customer in the past and used to really like this brand, right? So you've already got an in right there. They used to like your brand. They used to be a customer, for lack of a better term. They used to be a customer. And so now you're just trying to convince them, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Want to try this brand out again? And I really think that that's a very valuable technique. So make sure that you're not going into this feeling entitled that, oh, that jerk, if they don't talk to me, then they're just not worth my time. What a jerk. They just think they're better than me. Yeah, I mean, it's not really down to you to make that assumption. So if you're going to go in with that attitude, I would suggest that you save yourself some time and trouble and just don't bother with this, because you are not ready for a relationship, frankly. And this person deserves something better, okay? So I'm going to be totally honest with you about that. I mean that with all respect, with absolutely all due respect. Excuse me while I take a drink of my water. So, you need to be the mature one. You need to be the bigger person, and you need to be the person that shows, not just by word, but by deed, that you are in fact ready for them to be back in your life, and that you can convince them that you are worth it. When we watch, even in pop culture, when we watch movies and TV shows and things, and somebody's had a falling out or a breakup, oftentimes the injured party or the perceived injured party will say something like, well, what makes things different now? What makes things different now? Why should I come back to you? Well, that's what we're trying to prove to the person in this program. We're trying to show them that they miss us and that they should be back with us. Okay. So just, and on that note, in that regard, on the flip side of things, own your importance. Own your importance. Okay. And please don't ever contact them or reach out to them when you have nothing to say. Don't text jokes, folks, please. I had a client who started this program and went ahead with some really untoward and inappropriate jokes, I believe, in an attempt to sabotage himself so he could say, well, see, even this doesn't work for me. I'm, such a victim, right? I do apologize for that noise. It sounds like somebody's either shooting at a target or setting off fireworks, and it's rather disrespectful. I do apologize. I hope that you're still able to hear me. So as far as texting jokes and why you shouldn't do that, well, I think it's self-explanatory, but some people may not. I mean, we all have different points of view and different opinions and different backgrounds. So my feeling on the matter is this makes you seem like somebody who can't be taken seriously, like my client. He was truly, I believe, trying to psychologically sabotage himself. He was trying to sabotage himself and say, see, even this program won't work for me. I'm doomed. And he was trying to confirm that narrative that he's been telling himself for years. And because he came to me for coaching as well as reading this and implementing it, we were able to head this off. So please remember that self-sabotage is not your friend. And if you see yourself starting to repeat an internal narrative or dialogue that's unhealthy, or repeat limiting beliefs, or, say things like, well, I know this isn't going to work, stop right there. Stop right there. Rethink, back up, take a break, reconnoiter. Okay. So don't do what my client did and text jokes. Not only does this make you seem like somebody who can't be taken seriously, it makes you seem like you don't take this person seriously in return. It shows the person that you care about that you're willing to waste their time. And it says, I'm immature. It says I'm awkward. It says I'm not willing to be upfront and honest. Now, while a certain level of awkwardness can be endearing, if it's genuine, this is awkward on a whole nother level, and we don't want to go there. It's really unhelpful. So no jokes. If you are texting somebody who is a woman or a minority race, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, or religion, or somebody who is transgender or something like that, please understand that your jokes might be offensive or hurtful to them, okay? And frankly, we don't know everybody's background. You could be, talking to somebody who is of mixed background, who is transgender, who is of a certain religious background, of a certain ethnic background. And you may not actually know that, okay? Not all of these things are apparent, even with people that you may have known for a long time. So please be respectful. And if these things don't apply directly to them, they could apply to people that they love, who they love. So please be respectful and don't go there with offensive, jokes. Like I said, don't go there with jokes at all, but especially not this sort of thing. If you say offensive things, you will undo any progress that you've made with this person, and that's not what you want. So if your instinct is to self-sabotage, check yourself before you wreck yourself, okay? Because self-sabotage is bad for your health. So another don't is I want you to really be careful about be careful to not bring up past transgressions on either side of the relationship. When it comes time to apologize, and it will happen later on in the program, apologies can be delivered without bringing up transgressions. Keep it classy, okay? Keep it short, sweet, and classy. Do not play that blame game. Past is past. If you can't handle that, you are not ready to move forward with this person. And guess what? Hey, if you're not ready, you know what? That's okay. That's okay. You need to meet yourself where you're at. And if you're not ready, if you're hurting too much, if you're too angry, if you're just not feeling it for whatever reason, that is okay. Please understand that, okay? I just want to let you know that I'm not here to judge you. You don't need to judge yourself in a negative way. It's okay if you're not ready. It's okay. Moving on. So now we're going to move on to a really important point. And again, we're not going to cover this whole thing tonight. So stay tuned. We are going to continue discussing this topic. And I would love for you to try my free ebook while it's free. And when it's not free, hey, $3.99, not a bad price to pay to get the person that you care for back into your life, right? And if you want to get a copy of the paperback manual, it is $15.99. Now that covers publishing costs. That is not an arbitrary price. That is not an arbitrary price point. It covers publishing costs. It covers printing costs. It covers shipping, being sent to you. These are things that I don't have control over. But again, I just want to reemphasize that is less than a quarter of what it would cost to see most counselors, most psychotherapists for one session, okay? Think about how much it means to you to get this person back into your life. This is not a funneling strategy. You don't have to buy other stuff. Of course, you can come to me as a client if you'd like to. You are absolutely more than welcome to, but this is not a funneling strategy. This is something for you, from me, and from you. Really, it's from both of us, from myself and from you to you, okay? So it's a gift to yourself, and it's something that I want to give you in exchange for a fair amount for the material I'm releasing. And really, again, what is it worth to you to get this person back into your life? I'm certainly not asking you to pay, $100 or something like that. It's $16, so $15.99 plus tax for the paperback, and it's $3.99 for the ebook once the free promotion is gone. And I don't know how much longer that is going to last. It just depends on how many people are getting free copies, and so if you want one, get yours now while supplies last, as it were. So moving on to, I think the most important point in this entire manual, and a really important point in counseling and psychology, HALT. This is A mnemonic device, okay? HALT. I'm going to repeat it a couple more times for you, utilizing some psychology here. HALT, 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 HALT. HALT, as in stop, as in do not pass go, do not collect $200. HALT. Okay, HALT. I hope that HALT has now been pretty much drummed into your brain. HALT. Okay, HALT. HALT before you contact somebody when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Okay? HALT before you contact someone when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And I think this is a good point to discuss toward the end of the show here. Okay? So, why should you not text or reach out to somebody when you're hungry? Well, hunger affects your brain, your body, your blood sugar. Texting or emailing or messaging with somebody when you're hungry will ensure that you're off your game. And it's important to keep your texting game tight at this crucial time. Now, really, folks, this can be useful in other areas of your life, which is why I'm trying to drum HALT into your head. HALT before forgetting the term HALT. Okay, so hungry, angry, lonely, tired. We just covered hunger. Anger is the next thing. So, why should you not text or contact someone when you're angry? Well, texting someone when you're angry, either with them or at or about someone or something else, is entirely not okay. Anger influences your mood, your feelings, and the feeling and meaning behind what you say. Coming across as angry is hard to hide. If you're angry, people will pick that up. Your text might look exactly the same whether you're happy or angry. And I'm telling you that the person, if they possess any intuition whatsoever or know you at all, and they do because you have been in each other's lives before, is going to know that you're angry. So, anger influences your mood. Like I said, it influences the meaning behind your words. It influences your feelings. It influences their feelings, all in a negative way. And you don't want to derail. You don't want to sabotage. Coming across as angry will not help you to win someone that you care about back. It's not going to help. If they're important enough to you to win back, then they're important enough for you to try your hardest and to treat them with respect, and to treat yourself with respect as well. Lonely. Texting someone when you're lonely because you want to fill that void is not okay. Mature adults don't do that. We have an obligation to treat others with the respect they deserve and to treat folks how we ourselves would like to be treated. This goes triply for someone who means so much to you that you do anything to get them back into your life. Okay? They mean so much to you that you are implementing this right now. You're changing yourself for the better for you in order to improve yourself and your relationships. So this is how much this person means to you. And really, this is how much you mean to yourself. So don't text them because you want a void to be filled. Don't text them because you want a void to be filled. If you want a void to be filled, call your mom, call your dad, call your siblings, if you're on good terms, of course, and they're not the subject of this exercise, of this endeavor. Call a close friend or family member if you really need to reach out and talk and you're having a tough time. But don't go through this process of trying to restore your relationship with this, important person when you're lonely. Don't text them when you're lonely. Someone who is special to us needs to be treated as such. It is not that person's fault that we're feeling lonely. It is not their fault that we're feeling unfulfilled. It is not their responsibility to change those things. Tired. Well, we all say things that we wish we hadn't said. We all do things we wish we hadn't done when we're tired. Sometimes conversations are misinterpreted. Sometimes autocorrect gets the best of us. And other times we're just less focused on the whole. So remember, halt before texting or conversing with this special person if you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired. HALT, halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Okay. No worries, of course, if texts like these are part of your texting history, because guess what? That's all it is, history. They're no longer part of your texting game. They're no longer part of your vocabulary. They're no longer part of your skill set. From now on, texts like these are a thing of the past. Okay? We did discuss self-sabotage. Okay? Now I think this is a good place to end our program tonight. So, self-sabotage is really, really important, folks. This is a make or break thing. Self-sabotage can be conscious, it can be unconscious, it can be a little subconscious action going on there where you're trying to, confirm this unhealthy internal narrative or internal dialogue that you have going on. Maybe you're trying to confirm some self-limiting beliefs. If you find yourself doing that, I want you to challenge why you feel that these things are true, and then I want you to eliminate any correlation between you wanting to prove these negative things to be true about yourself and the text that you're sending to this person you care about. It is not their responsibility to make you feel better about yourself or to be a tool to prove that you're not a worthy human. That's actually kind of narcissistic. I'm certainly not saying that anybody who self-sabotages is a narcissist. I'm not. That's not true. But it absolutely is true that it can go that route. It can go to that extent. You can actually be narcissistically self-defeating and self-sabotaging. It's a real issue. So I want you to be mindful of that. It's really easy to become emotional. It's easy to feel defeated when dealing with someone we've parted ways with. It is, especially when, like I said, we're employing poor internal dialogue, poor internal narrative, when we're having self-limiting beliefs come up, and when we're not checking those beliefs, which, of course, if we're going to do that, we need to be self-aware. So if you're not feeling self-aware enough to check these beliefs and to check these thoughts, then you are not self-aware enough to undertake this. I'm not saying that you will never be, but right now may not be the time if you don't feel self-aware enough to identify your own self-sabotaging tendencies. So, self-sabotage is a very real human reflex. It's a defense mechanism, and it's very, very responsible for many ruined relationships. So challenge that reflex. If you're not able to do so, again, put this aside, put a pin in it, and do it later once you've done some work on yourself. Checking defeatist thoughts and unhealthy internal narratives and dialogues, like, for instance, I'm worthless. This always happens to me. Nobody likes me. I'm a loser. No one wants to talk to me. No one wants me in their lives. What a jerk. This person is probably out with other men or women or friends or family. They're laughing about me. They hate me. They think I'm ridiculous. Nobody respects me. People always laugh behind my back, or I'll be alone forever. Instead of going there, recognize when these thoughts come into your head and reframe them. Many of these internal statements can be reframed in a positive way. And guess what? These above statements have been relayed to me directly by my clients as things that are actually going through their minds. So how can you reframe these ideas, right? I'm worthless, for instance, could be reframed as, you know what? I deserve a fulfilled life with people who respect me and who confirm my worth. And I deserve to feel worthy myself. And I need to partake in some actions and make some choices that make me feel worthy, right? So we're going to stop right there for tonight. We're going to continue on one of our next shows. I am not going to go through the entire program with you. Like I said, that's just not going to work time-wise, and it's better for you to just have the text in front of you. Check it out. The link is below. Be well, and you know what? Have a wonderful night.